So before we begin, just a few notes. Use the Q&A function to submit any feedback, questions, ideas, and more. We'll share um, what comes in here throughout the session, especially frequently asked questions that may not be answered, that still need answers throughout the presentation. You can use your camera function on your smartphone to hover over QR codes throughout the webinar to access links that we've included. And don't worry if you missed anything, we'll send a recording of tonight's session through email within 24 to 48 hours. Please wait until the near of the presentation uh, to ask certain questions, as we'll be covering a large amount of information, and the answer to your question may appear at some point throughout the presentation. And as I said, we will respond to select questions, and if time permits, we'll give you more detailed answers towards the end. And if we can't answer all the questions, we'll provide a link to the online support center where you could get a personalized response from a member of our team. So tonight we're going to speak about the pathways to becoming a computer science teacher at NYC Public Schools. If you are a tech professional with no prior teaching experience or certification, or if you are certified to teach computer science through a teacher preparation program, then you're in the right place. We have a lot to cover tonight, so let's get started. We're hoping that you walk away with the following: knowing the key details about CTE, uh, knowing the key details about computer science, and understanding the computer science landscape at New York City Public Schools, including why it's like so important to New York City Public Schools, and understanding how to navigate the application and certification process to becoming a computer science teacher, and as well as determining which pathway is most suitable for you. So why teach at New York City Public Schools? When you join New York City Public Schools, you join the largest, most dynamic district in the nation, and we're going to take a look at more deeply what that looks like. So NYCPS has over 900,000 students who speak over 180 languages, a network of 77,000 fellow teachers, and New York City educators that have the unique privilege and responsibility to jumpstart the next generation of innovators, leaders, and citizens. NYCPS is comprised of 1,600 schools that are as diverse as our students and the distinctive neighborhoods we serve. Within our schools, teachers build personal connections with their students, colleagues, and families to support relationship building and learning outcomes. To give you a sense of the growing needs for teachers, the New York State law limiting class size means the need for teachers across New York City is growing significantly. We are hiring at record rates and need to be thinking long term about how we are going to make sure we have a strong pipeline of high quality educators to meet the needs across New York City. New York City Public Schools is always growing, as we said, and we have new schools opening each year. And this fall, we will have 7 schools opening. So just to give a glimpse of that growth. So now we will take a look at our competitive salary. In September 2026, teacher salaries in New York City Public Schools will start at 71,314 for bachelor's and no experience, and 80,166 with master's and no experience. Teacher starting salaries vary based on education and experience, and they can earn additional compensation for teaching after school or summer school programs and for teaching in demanding environments. As teachers' careers progress at New York City Public Schools, they can earn longevity bonuses and have opportunities to move up salary steps. These are the starting salaries, but we like to give a sense of what you could expect your salary to be as your career develops. And we'll take a look at that on the next slide. So this slide looks ahead to what your salary would be in the future at NYCPS. If you're currently in your 8th year of teaching with your master's plus your 30 credits in professional development courses, you would be at 103,291. If you have 15 years of teaching NYC Public Schools with your master's degree, plus 30 credits and professional development courses, you would make 123,939. Remember, this is just using the pay scale from the 2025 school season, so this rate is subject to increase with the yearly raises negotiated by the UFT contract. And you can find additional resources regarding salaries on the following web pages. And as I said, you can use your phone to access the links via the QR code. And if you don't get all of them, they will be shared in the recording when we send them to you later. So additional perks to working at NYC Public Schools include comprehensive health insurance plan, which includes dental, vision, and prescription drugs. Some require no employee contribution. Annual retention bonuses prorated during your first year and increase each year. Membership with the United Federation of Teachers, also known as UFT, enrollment in a pension plan. New York City Public Schools employees are eligible for many additional benefits, including commuter benefits, a college savings program, and employee discounts on everything from technology and media to travel and education, in addition to scholarships, financial incentives, and way more. There are also exciting loan forgiveness programs that you could be eligible for as an NYCPS teacher. NYCPS employees may be eligible for the Public Service Loan Forgiveness Program, also known as the PSLF. The PSLF program forgives the remaining balance on your direct loans after you've made the equivalent of 120 qualifying monthly payments under an accepted repayment plan and while working full time for an eligible employer. New teachers at New York City Public Schools hit the ground running with professional resources and learning opportunities tailored just for them, in addition to many career development opportunities available to all teachers. We offer robust supports for our new teachers in person, online, and in community settings that include New Teacher Week, which is an annual event where new teachers can get inspiration from special guest speakers, learn about key policies, engage with the UFT, and network with their fellow teachers. School based mentoring, in which new hires are assigned an experienced and trained mentor teacher to support their professional growth during their first year. And the First Class newsletter, which is a digital bulletin for first years that spotlights vetted resources, teaching tips, and answers to common new teacher questions. Teachers at NYC Public Schools, no matter where they are in their careers, also have access to professional development opportunities at their schools, including coaching, professional development days, and after school learning opportunities. In addition to school based supports, optional development opportunities are made available by various teams, including New York City Public Schools offices at the UFT. We also offer digital resources for busy teachers to find resources for their classroom, regularly stay connected to opportunities to extend their learning and impact. So, who are we looking for? New York City Public Schools is dedicated to attracting and retaining the very best teachers for our schools. We are looking for passionate, collaborative, and committed teachers who reflect the incredible diversity of our student body. So we begin with an overview of computer science at New York City Public Schools, the importance of CS at NYCPS, the CS for All initiative, and how CS teachers are impacting students at New York City Public Schools. So why is New York City Public Schools so committed to expanding computer science opportunities? And what do computer science teachers find so inspiring and meaningful? New York City Public Schools computer science teachers are empower students with skills to shape their futures and the world. As a computer science teacher at New York City Public Schools, you can prepare students for college, careers, and a tech-driven world, provide hands-on coding experiences through real-world projects, and teaching students problem-solving skills. At New York City Public Schools, we deliver rigorous academic and real-world learning experiences to ensure all students graduate with the knowledge, skills, and confidence to succeed in their careers and communities. As part of this work, Computer Science for All, or CS for All, ensures all students develop critical 21st century skills in computer science and computational thinking for their future. Um, by 2023, 93% of our schools offered computer science, which consisted of 3,000 plus educators that were trained since 2015, as well as a K through 12 implementation. And now we're going to take a few minutes to hear firsthand on how CS for All is impacting New York City Public Schools students. I'm going to click the video.
How many people in this room speak code? There we go. Now that you can speak code, the question is, what are you going to do with it? You got these crazy, crazy skills. What are you going to do with code to make things great?
My project's name is Style Me. It's an iOS app, and the purpose of it is to generate an outfit for a user.
Because in the morning it's such a hassle, getting up, trying to find an outfit that, goes best with the weather.
So let's eliminate that hassle, let's eliminate that wait time, and just, have you look nice at the end of the day.
The whole point of this game is to test your analytical skills, your problem solving skills. There are 5 houses, and a fish is missing from one of the houses. And using clues provided to you, you have to find the fish.
Scroll down.
And I always want to make my own AIs. Like I started coding one before, but I never finished it because I didn't have the skill. But now that I'm learning here, I'm gonna be able to finish it.
Now
This is really nice. It's wonderful.
My project is a randomly generated maze, and it picks a few different pictures for the different tiles, and it creates a game that you can play.
So my create task, it was a 2D platformer. The player has two options, to jump or to duck. So the player can press the up arrow to jump over a rock, or press the down arrow to duck over a glacier. Oh, okay.
We're working on a social media platform more geared towards writers, like Instagram, but with stories, poetry.
You will be able to upload your work, and get people to read your work.
It's mainly for people who don't know how to put their work out there, for them to start off doing so.
CS is you, CS is me. We're dope, we're passionate. We can make this happen. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
We hope you enjoyed seeing how computer science programs and teachers are having an impact on NYCPS students. Now we're going to dive into computer science teacher certification pathways, exploring the most common options, providing examples, and guiding you on how to choose the pathway that best suits you. So all New York City public school teachers must hold a New York State teacher certification. Prospective computer science teachers must meet specific NYCPS certification requirements in order to teach various computer science courses. There are two main pathways you can obtain certification to teach computer science at New York City Public Schools, and that is the classroom teacher certification as well as the transitional A certification. And we're going to see a bit more about this later on. So let's take a look at the difference between the two. A classroom teacher certification, a candidate must complete required coursework and infill training, earning a teacher certification in computer science or technology education pre-K to 12. On the other hand, we have Trans A certification. It's a non traditional teaching route for candidates with tech industry experience. You can teach without completing a traditional teacher prep program and earn a Trans A CTE teaching certificate in computer technology grades 7 to 12 without any prior teaching experience. Later, we'll briefly cover what career and technical education is and its connection to the Trans A certification. While we mentioned there are two pathways towards obtaining certification to become a computer science teacher, there is a third pathway known as the Statement of Continued Eligibility or the SOCI. In order to qualify for a SOCI, candidates must have taught at least one computer science course, was employed when the SOCI was issued. The application for the SOCI is currently closed, but we wanted to give you context that this is also an additional pathway. So now that we've named the available certification, it's important to understand which courses you can teach with each certification. Here are examples of NYCPS computer science courses and the required certifications to teach them. You can also scan the QR code on the right to access the full guidance document, which outlines the certification requirements for each computer science course and the pathways towards meeting them. Now let's talk about how to become a computer science teacher through the certified teacher pathway. If you aren't yet a certified computer science teacher, you can access the QR code to learn more. Please be advised that for the certified teacher pathway, you will need to provide proof of certification as part of your New York City Public Schools teacher application. If your application is successfully screened, you will gain access to our job portal and resources for you to find computer science teaching positions. And we'll go in depth later on the job search process, but wanted to preview that for you. Before you start your application, you can check out the Classroom Teacher Application Guide, which will walk you through the process. This guide shares information on preparing for your New York City Public Schools teacher application. This includes how to create an account, completing your common profile, tips and notes, and frequently asked questions. It also introduces you to our online support if you have any additional questions. And we advise that you thoroughly review this document before starting your application. Now let's talk about how to become a computer science teacher through the Trans A pathway. Trans A certification is the ideal pathway for career changers with industry experience in technology to become a certified computer science teacher at New York City Public Schools. A Trans A teaching certificate allows the employment of individuals with industry experience who meet the educational and or occupational requirement of NYCED for a CTE industry area. In this case, the CTE industry area for Trans A certification for computer science is computer technology. What is unique about Trans A certification is that it allows you to teach before receiving an initial certificate, which is the typical first certificate that most New York City Public Schools teachers have to obtain. Before exploring the Trans A pathway to becoming a CS teacher, let's revisit career and technical education, also known as CTE, and its link to Trans A. You'll hear CTE often as we discuss Trans A. It's central to the certification process. So, what is CTE? Career and technical education is an alternative pathway to teaching using your industry experience. How does it work? Candidates with tech industry experience, such as software development, IT, computer science, etc., can qualify to teach computer science at NYCPS by earning a Trans A certificate in CTE, information technology. So the key takeaways is that through CTE, Trans A turns real world experience into teaching credential, especially in high demand fields like computer science. So Trans A certification is provided by the New York State Education Department, also known as NYCED, and we'll review the process tonight, but note that we do not make final award determinations. A Trans A certificate allows you to teach grades 7 to 12 for 3 years. Within those 3 years, you will need to remain at the same NYCPS school and complete coursework requirements to apply for initial cert. And we'll talk more about that later on as well. So here we have this tool, and it gives a detailed description of what work experience NICET is looking for CTE information technology. If you scan there, it'll take you directly there. Information technology requires extensive experience in computer hardware, software, networks, data, and or programming. Relevant experience include computer programming, systems analysis and design, network engineering, database management, AI research, and related IT fields. And as we said on NICET, there will probably be a more extensive list and description of what they're looking for. And you can use the QR code to gain more information about this. There are different pathways teacher candidates can take to receive a Trans A certificate. The pathway you choose will likely depend on your education level, your industry experience, and any industry credentials that you will have. Tonight, we will be going over some of the most common pathways, and we'll share information about where you can get more details about all the pathway options. As stated, there are multiple pathways available for Trans A certification, and this chart here shows at the high level the multiple pathways available for Trans A certification. Again, the pathway you choose will depend on your education level and your industry experience and industry credentials if you have any. And we say high level because depending on your granted in this particular case, computer technology, if you input it into the state's tools, there might be additional requirements to what's listed here. So this is just a high level uh, demonstration of what the different pathways could look like. This tool is a New York State certification requirement search page. This is where you're going to search for relevant pathway requirements for CTE information technology. Be sure to check this page carefully to find the specific requirements for your industry area, as they are unique to each industry area, as we already mentioned. So it's important to input the information, and I'm gonna provide more information on what to input so you can see what are the listicle requirements for CTE information technology. So when you search on this page, you'll need to input the following information in the drop-down menu. You'll select career and technical teacher as your area of interest and information technology as the subject area. The grade level dropdown will only offer you grades 7 to 12, as that is the only grade levels CTE teachers can teach. And then you'll select computer technology as the title. Then you'll select transitional A as the cert license and press search to see all the specific pathway requirements for information technology. There are some items that are required for a Trans A certificate across all pathways for CTE information technology. This includes completing 3 workshops, committing to teaching at the same NYCPS school for 3 years of your Trans A certification, receiving a year of mentoring and daily supervision for your first 20 days of teaching, fingerprint clearance, and we'll talk a bit more about some of these requirements tonight, and you can also find more information in the QR codes provided. So pathways A and B are the most common pathways CTE candidates use to get their Trans A certification. To qualify for pathway A, you must have at least an associate's degree in computer science field and a minimum of 2 years of work experience. As we also said, pathway B is very popular. To qualify for this pathway, you must have at least a high school diploma and at least 4 years of work experience in a computer science field, and you must pass the New York State teacher certification exam, communicative and quantitative skills. And you can find more about the test and the QR code included here. To qualify for Pathway J, you must have a bachelor's degree or higher in a computer science field and either 1 year of work experience or an industry credential. As you can see, each pathway is unique, and there are further nuances within pathways depending on your industry area. You want to be sure to check the state certification requirements page and the industry requirements page to see what you will qualify for, and you can use the QR code on the right to learn more about industry credentials for information technology. And just to reiterate, the search certification tool, that's where you will see the listicle requirements and the NYCED requirements by title page. That's where you will see a detailed description of what the computer science work work experience has to look like to be accepted by NYCED. So we know that navigating pathways can be quite complex. So let's take a look at a couple of examples. In this example, we have Lena. Lena has an associate's degree in computer science from Queensborough Community College, and she has worked for 5 years as a software developer. Lena should pursue pathway A because she has an associate's degree in computer science, as well as 2 years of work experience in the field of computer science. Our next example is Taylor. Taylor has a bachelor's degree in information technology from the City University of New York. Taylor has worked for 2 years as a junior software engineer at a tech startup. Taylor should pursue Pathway J because she has a bachelor's degree in computer science, as well as 1 year of work experience. In our last example, let's consider Alex. Alex has been working as a programmer for 10 years. Alex should pursue Pathway B, which does not require any higher education after a high school and or GED. However, Alex will have to take the New York State Communication and Quantitative Skills exam. So we took a look at some examples. Now we're going to talk about how to become a computer science teacher through the Trans A pathway. We know that the Trans A CT application and certification process can be quite confusing. So we've broken down the process into 6 steps, which we will now walk through in detail to help you kickstart your computer science journey at NYCPS if it's through the Trans A pathway. So you're going to first want to select your CTE industry area. In this case, it's CTE Information Technology. And the QR code here leads you to that requirements by title page to see the description for this particular industry area. Next, you're going to want to select your certification pathway for computer technology or information technology. You got to look at the various pathway requirements on the state's website and ask yourself the following questions to determine which pathway is right for you. What is your education level and or background? What is your work experience? What, if any, industry credentials do you hold? Have you completed any industry level assessments? Remember, there's no one size fit all option when choosing your pathway, and you may find that you may qualify for multiple pathways. It's at your discretion to determine which one you feel best fits your background and what NYCED is looking for. As mentioned, you can also create And I said teach account to apply for Trans A certification. This is where you're going to apply to the state for certification. And this is where all documents related to your certification, including transcripts, evidence of industry credentials, etc., anything that NYSET is looking for, this is where you're going to upload it. And as we mentioned, New York City Public Schools and New York State Education Department are two separate entities. We do not make any determinations regarding certification. Your required documentation will depend on the pathway you selected. However, all pathways will be required to submit a work verification form to NYSED. Please be sure to get a copy of any verification form submitted on your behalf. You may need it to follow up. This is what NYSED is going to use to verify the work experience to see if it meets the requirements for the pathway that you're applying for. Again, as we mentioned, New York City Public Schools is a separate entity from NYSED, and is a separate application from the application. You'll need to complete both, and you should do both at the same time. In order to submit your New York City Public Schools teacher application, please visit teachnyc.net. And the 2026-2027 NYCPS teacher application is open. Apply now to gain access to computer science job opportunities at NYCPS. And we added this step here because you're going to want to update your resume to get ready for your CTE teacher application. And here are some tips to consider when updating your resume. Make sure relevant experience for your industry area is visually prominent with headings like related industry experience. Be sure to clearly describe your roles and responsibilities and highlight your years of experience. Keep in mind that your resume is pertinent to the review of your New York City Public Schools teacher application. It allows us to review your experience against NYSED requirements for computer technology, which will determine if your application is successfully screened and gain access to NYCPS computer science teaching opportunities. So this is a very important part as a Trans A candidate for computer science. So please keep that in mind. We're almost there, but let's continue on with the last few steps. So be sure to complete your required workshops. NYCPS is an official provider of these workshops, which you can find more information about on the QR code provided here. And then step 6, beginning your job search. So you've selected your industry, which is CTE, information technology. You've decided on a pathway, you've submitted your NYSED and NYCPS applications and collected your updated resume and documentation. It's time to begin your job search. Our office will review your NYCPS teacher application. If it seems like you've met the state's requirements for computer information technology for a pathway within this industry area, your application will be entered into the new teacher finder. And this is our online job board. And we'll talk a bit more about that soon. Remember that you are responsible for finding your own job and securing a job offer, and committing to 3 years of teaching is a state's requirement for obtaining Trans A certification. As we mentioned, the Trans A certificate is valid for 3 years. Within those 3 years, you'll need to complete 3 courses, which is 9 credits in total, as well as paid teaching. And you can visit the QR code for more information regarding this. As a preview to what happens next after you receive a job offer, once you receive a job offer, the principal will coordinate the next steps with the district's human resource director or the HRD. For Trans A candidates, if your certification isn't approved yet, the HRD will contact you for documentation to submit to New York City Public Schools certification office for review. If the documentation submitted indicates that you meet the state's requirements for CTE information technology, the CERT office will grant you a temporary certification so you can begin teaching. Note that they will only do this if they are confident you will meet the state's requirements, so be sure to double and triple check those requirements on the state's website before applying. Okay, so you've made it this far, and we're almost to the end. Let's briefly recap the process to teaching computer science in New York City Public Schools and your next steps, as well as where you can get additional support. We'll then go through questions we haven't answered yet to see if we can address them now. So, as a brief certification pathways recap, Trans A certification allows non teacher candidates to teach computer science. Multiple pathways based on education and industry experience. While the classroom teacher certification is an initial certification that allows teacher preparation candidates to teach computer science, and the two possible certification options are computer science and technology education pre-K to 12. So no matter your pathway, remember you need to create a teacher account if you don't already have one to begin your certification process. Complete the New York State Public Schools teacher application, and if you're successfully screened, you will gain access to the new teacher finder. As we said, this is our job search tool, hiring resources for teaching positions and getting hired. That's the goal as a computer science teacher. And so later on in the next slides, we're gonna provide you with more resources on how to secure computer science teaching roles at NYCPS. So we offer lots of different job search supports and encourage you to take advantage of them all, including researching schools online, conducting direct outreach to schools, including the New Teacher Finder or NTF, a vacancy list we send via email, and attending workshops and networking events you may be invited to. As we said in the upcoming slides, we'll take a closer look at each of these supports and how you can use them to your advantage. So we're going to start to look into the new teacher finder, which is a very helpful tool. Once you submit a highly qualified application, you will get access to the new teacher finder. You'll be able to log in and use the new teacher finder in several ways. One, your application profile will become viewable to principals and recruiters. You'll be able to search for teaching positions, especially computer science teaching positions. And if you are certified in a high need subject area, you may receive invitations to New York City Public School sponsored recruitment events during the season. It's important to note that not all candidates are invited to all events online or in person. Overall application quality, event capacity, and current certification needs are taken into consideration when inviting candidates to networking events. So here's a screenshot of what the new teacher finder or the NTF looks like. After selecting search all positions on the left panel, you can filter for the position type, your preferred borough, grade level, and subject area. Principals enter the vacancies into the NTF, and while you can express interest via the NTF, you should also email principals directly. And to learn more about specific schools, you can go to schools.nyc.gov and use the school search feature right on the home page. You can search for schools by name, borough, or grade level to help narrow down your options. However, you'll want to remember that the tool lists every school in our system, not just the ones with openings. So once you've identified the schools that interest you, you need to contact them directly to inquire about position availability. And in terms of researching individual schools, you could click on individual school's name. It will take you to a page that contains a wealth of information about the school. You can click on the school's website to go directly to their website and get an overview of some of the data, which is their grade levels, enrollment, district, and etc. Click on reports for additional information about school programs, finances, etc. if you want to learn more about particular schools. And then you can visit our online support center for 24/7 support with the application and hiring process. The support center contains hundreds of articles about every stage of the application and hiring process, as well as a contact us button where you can submit your questions to the TRQ help desk for a personalized response. And here are some additional links to websites and resources that can support you through your process of becoming a computer science teacher at NYCPS. We have NYCED's website that has resources regarding CTE for Trans-A certification, as well as resources from NYCPS. So you can make use of these links to support you in navigating the application and certification process. Please follow us on LinkedIn and Instagram to stay on top of what's happening in New York City Public Schools. We have really active social media platforms where we regularly share updates on the application and recruitment events, as well as news about what's going on in our schools and relevant opportunities for teachers. So join the conversation. And I would like to highlight for LinkedIn, we have our New York City Department of Education, which is our overall NYCPS LinkedIn, but we also have our New York City Public Schools Career and Technical Education page. For those of you who are interested in becoming a computer science teacher through the Trans-A pathway, we welcome you to follow both, but wanted to flag that for you.